Detect and Respond at Deloitte, will join us to share an update on the current cybersecurity landscape, emerging threats, and coming regulations in the Keynote, Decrypting Security. Please put your hands together for Shannon Parker.
Okay, she sounds and looks impressive. I don't know who she is, but anyway. Just a simple prairie girl from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Happy to be here. Just a quick thank you to Mammal for having me, and the Mammal 2 first names, Roger Bruce, Bruce Roger. I can't see, oh, I can see a wave. So indirectly, maybe a thank you to the Mammal 2 first names. Lots of cheering, hey, lots of cheering. All right. If I push this, does my first slide come up? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good, perfect. This is the scenario. You wake up, you go into work, and you wiggle your mouse, and you get the dreaded blue screen. In my case, in my old digital forensics world, you get a black screen, but you just get a mouse blinking. Blink, 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 blink. So you hop up out of your desk, you walk in the hallway, you look up and down. Is anyone else's computer doing anything weird? Mine's doing something really weird. Then you think, oh, maybe I'll call somebody. So you go to grab your VoIP phone. Oh, nothing there either. Okay, I'm gonna grab my cell phone. I'm gonna try and check my work email. Oh, wait a minute, M365 is compromised. I can't even email anybody. Now what do I do? Business is set to open at 9 o'clock. What am I going to do? I'm going to print out a sign. I'm going to put the sign on the front door of the business and let them know we're closed for business because something is going on. We have no computers, we have no network access. Oh, I can't print anything. Now what do? Well, let's grab a Jiffy marker and we'll slap something on the front door. Who here, these lights are crazy, who here has ever experienced anything like that? Is there any wigglers, any hand, ooh, I hear a couple, see a couple of hand wigglers. Any clappers? Apparently we're clapping today. All right. Oh, okay, a couple clappers have had this happen. Not a great experience. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to cover 3 different areas, and we're going to hopefully understand maybe why that's happening a little better, and who's mainly responsible. It's a really uncomfortable, stressful situation. I don't wish it upon anybody, but that's sort of how I spend my all day, every day. Who am I? My name is Shannon Parker. I'm currently a director at Deloitte in the Detect and Respond group. So my all day, every day is organizations call us and say, hey, we've been breached, we've been compromised, my computer's doing something funny. What do we do? Well, okay, I kind of come in with our team, we do some containment, digital forensics, some investigation, short-term, long-term restoration, and we try and get your organization back up and running. So that's my current all day, every day. Prior to that, I was just confessing to Roger Bruce, Bruce Roger, that I'm clearly a confused person. I was a high school math teacher, calculus trigonometry for 6 years, loved it. Then I moved over into law enforcement and was a Saskatoon City Police Service member for 17 years. So I drove around in a car, all sorts of investigations, spent a good portion of my time internationally designated digital forensics examiner, spent most of my days doing child pornography investigations. So I'm also spend a lot of time instructing the dark web, and I'm also a certified cryptocurrency tracer. Chair of the National Cyber Council, been over to Europol, presented there. Oh boy, talk about lights and bells and whistles, and talk about being humbled. So they fly the little prairie girl over to The Hague, Netherlands. I get there, a big deal, I'm there, and there's Germany, all these countries in the audience, and it's live streamed. And who presents before me? Cyrus Vance Jr., who's doing Donald Trump's tax return investigation. He's here to talk about Apple. I'm like, okay, I'm just here to talk about cybersecurity. And then the woman that was after me did all the OSINT work on the Big Gatsby beheadings. So again, talk about a humbling moment. I've also had the opportunity as chair of the National Cyber Council to go down to the Department of Homeland Security and work with an amazing group of people to create the national data collection model for all law enforcement in the country. In addition to that, former Privacy Commissioner of Canada, Jennifer Stoddart, has asked me to sit on a 10-person panel, and we just wrote a really informative paper that's driving a lot of the work behind Bill C-26 and C-27 coming. Touch base on that in a little bit. So that's who I am. All of that put together, then I arrived at Deloitte, it all means I'm a little bit crazy. So thank you for having me. Now we're going to divide this next 25 minutes into 3 sections. The first, we're just going to talk about some of the drivers behind all these different types of cybersecurity incidents and events and why they're happening, and really sadly why it's not going to stop anytime soon. Then we're going to spend a few minutes talking about the new mafia. Okay, ransomware as a service, it is organized crime, don't kid yourself, and sadly they're not going away. And then lastly, you have to always leave a presentation, which is 3 little takeaways, and I'll give you 3 little takeaways at the end. Questions on that? Who I am, what the heck we're going to do in the next 25 minutes? We're good, all right. So here, it's big numbers. It's really big numbers is what this all amounts to. So here, it's all cybersecurity incidents and events, 3rd largest economy, okay? Here, 2021, it's old data, big numbers. What we need to focus on is that the numbers are rising, and they're continuing to rise. And the other disclaimer I'll put on that, or the star of the asterisk the fine print, is that cybersecurity incidents and events are grossly underreported. Okay, so law enforcement all across the country, the biggest challenge they have, we'll get to that, is it's not being reported. And without it being reported, law enforcement cannot properly train themselves, they cannot properly resource themselves, they can't properly investigate. We'll get to that. So main drivers for the numbers are in the middle there. So we know right now we have more people than ever online. Right? COVID, we know, is the main driver. We've gone from having just, sons and daughters and spouses online. Well, now I got my mom online, I got my auntie online, right? Everybody wants to chat and visit now. So everybody's online. So if you're a threat actor, instead of maybe having 2 or 3 targets in a household, we now have all 6 people in the household. Case potential access points. We have more devices than ever online. Oh my word. IoT, the Internet of Things, is killing us. It's killing us personally, and it's killing us in the enterprise environment. One of the big takeaways and working breaches is asset management. Wow. And knowing what's in your environment. That would be it's not one of the takeaways, it's a little tip or trick. Okay, if you're operating an organization, please make sure you know what's in your environment. Okay, whether it's a point of sale system, whether it's the pharmacy laptop, whether it's third-party providers coming in. Oh. Hello? Better? Do we need a mic? Yeah. Oh. Hello? Better? Okay. Internet of Things devices, thank you. So when you go into any home, let's look at the home first. Right, well, a lot of the days of just having a computer and desktop set up in a library, right, and maybe one cell phone. You go into any home now, and what do we have? What do we have now in our homes? Anything in your home that has the ability or capacity to talk to a network. Anything in your home that has a MAC address, right? Media access control, if it can talk to the network, it's a potential access point for a threat actor. And that bodes well for in your home environment and also in your work environment. So at home, we have Alexas, we have Ring doorbell systems, we have multiple phones, we've got smart watches, we've got smart fridges, we have alarm clocks, we have thermostats. Okay, it's the same thing in the office or the enterprise environment. If it can connect, it's now a potential access point. Okay, so again, we now, the threat, the attack surface area, way up. That's not going anywhere anytime soon. And then networks. We have more networks than ever. So at one period of time, you would have been traveling around the world, off to the cabin, complaining you have no cell service. Well, now we know not only in Canada, but internationally, we have geographical portions and places in the world where they previously did not have network infrastructure, could not potentially be connected and have connectivity, that now have those cell towers and the network set up to be able to do that. So if you're a threat actor, again, top 3 drivers and numbers are those 3 things. More people's, more devices and networks, and that's not slowing down anytime soon. Now the 4th driver in the numbers here, I kind of went on a bit of a rant already, is law enforcement. They're really up against it. They're really up against it, and they're up against it for that number 1 reason. It's grossly underreported. And without it being reported, we can't properly get the budget to investigate. The last one here is anonymity. When we talk a little bit about how these ransomware as a service groups are set up and configured, their ability to remain anonymous is one of the big things. They obviously operate in the dark space. They're obviously, long gone are the days of bags of money in the closet, right, with our OMG, our outlaw motorcycle gangs, our street gangs, long gone are the bags of money. It still happens locally. Okay, but by and large, ransomware as a service, all crypto. Okay, I'm a certified tracer. We know there are some options with tracing, super limited. Okay, and then once we actually look at how these organizations are set up, they don't know each other. Okay, the mob boss does not know the guy that's running the code, and the guy that's running the code does not know the guy that's running the league site. And then all the affiliates, they also don't know each other. So they are operating anonymously. So not great news. Wait till you see how they're set up, it gets worse. So it's here to stay, which means we just need to make some plans, that's all, just some planning. So why do we care? I'm up here ranting and raving about these numbers and the numbers going up, but why do we care? We care because of the cost to your organization. Okay, so on the one side of the slide, I should have kept talking about. On the one side of the slide here, it's just a laundry list of different types of cybersecurity incidents and events. We're not going to go through all of them. Okay, a lot of them we're already familiar with, but we're going to focus on today's in the yellow, the ransomware as a service. The other one I will draw your attention to is the third party, right here. Compromise the trusted third-party service providers. That's another little tip and a trick. It's not part of the presentation, but as far as breaches and organizations getting compromised, that's one of, I would say, one of the more recent ways organizations are getting compromised. So if you think about being a threat actor, am I going to spend all of my time and energy gathering intelligence, doing my social engineering piece, and am I going to target an organization that potentially has 3 or 4 or 5 tunnels where data packets are flowing in and out? Or am I going to spend all my time and energy compromising a managed service provider that potentially has hundreds of tunnels and data packets coming in and out? So when we talk about third parties and third party compromises, that's what we're talking about. Okay, the threat actors are elevating their game. They're doing a better job of selecting their targets. Obviously, there's some low-level and low-hanging fruit, drive-by, no different than a break and enter. Okay, if I'm a little turkey and I want to break into somewhere, I'm walking down the street, am I going to break into the house that has the garage door open, or am I going to go into the house that has the beware a dog and a security sign? Well, path of least resistance, I'm going into the open garage. Okay, so you still have lots of drive-by, lots of easy open doors that we're going into, but third parties are getting much smarter. So this is why we care. We care. Now, I know we had a couple clappers saying they'd had an incident before, and a couple hands up saying they'd lived through one. Yeah, it's not a great experience. It's really stressful. Executives lose their job. CISOs lose their job. CIOs lose their job. People quit. It's long days. There's a high level of uncertainty. The board is grumpy. Your customers and persons in the community are grumpy. It's really a no-win. So here, it's a laundry list, right? So reputational damage, financial damage, interruption to operations, employees upset, all of that. And so we're talking not only about dollar figures, right, but that reputational value. So here's my little Shannon example. It's on such a small scale, but I buggered up my back, right? About 4 years ago now, I go to a local chiropractor. It's only the only time I've ever been because I'm scared of them. I go there, I go to my little check-in. They want my name, my phone number, my 4th born child's information. Like basically they're gathering every single bit of personally identifiable information in the world they could possibly ask for a person. I'm not sure why. And then no word of a lie, about a week later I get an email that they'd been breached and all my stuff was gone. I was so angry. So not only would I not go back to the chiropractor because I'm scared of them, but I was angry. So as a customer, I was angry. I was like, why did you fold? A, why were you collecting all that information? And B, why did you not take better care of it? Okay, so customers in the community, they're getting smarter and more concerned with how you're taking care of your data. So this is why we care. This is why we care about the numbers. Okay, how are we doing? Can I get a clap? Okay, this is the fun stuff here. So, ransomware as a service. Oh my word, there's a lot going on. So first of all, what is it? Let's just level set. Right, so ransomware is a service. Usually, it's a service. Organized crime. You go into the dark space. So when when I teach my class on dark web investigations, right? So we'll take officers there. Hi, do you want to buy a kid? Do you want to buy guns? Do you want to buy drugs? Do you want to buy a hacker? Right? Do you want to buy credit card data? Do you want to buy personal data? Do you want to buy health data? It's all for sale. Okay, sadly, I'll take you there, we can do it. Ransomware is a service, it's available for sale. Okay, so you're navigating, in the old days by I2P or Freenet, now we just go .onion. Go to your .onion site, you hire your hacker, or you can join a crew. Okay, you can join a ransomware group. Generally what happens is, there's multiple ways to get compromised. Business email compromise, credentials for sale on the dark web, brute force, password spray, on and on. But at the end of the day, it often comes down to positive human action. So people are clicking, they're inserting, they're downloading, and it makes me crazy. Stop it. Just stop it. Stop clicking. Right? Why do we need stuff now? Do you really need that now? Okay, I know we're trying to convert a document from A to B, and we're online now, we're trying to find a tool to quickly do that, but do you need to do that now? No, you're not 8. Okay, so the number one thing in a personal environment or a work environment is we need to do education and awareness. It's one of the last things on the last slide. I know it sounds like a no-brainer, but I would suggest that 90 to 100% of ransomware as a service incidents, okay, and for cybersecurity incidents, any bans, are due to human error. Okay, so someone in your environment has clicked on something. They're in an email, instead of hovering over, make sure we're all samesies, right? They're clicking. Okay, phishing, still super common. Snitching through text. Okay, they're clicking on junk in text you shouldn't be doing. Phishing over the phone, you're going to phish over the phone. So we need to stop clicking, inserting, and downloading. Right? Inserting, you have a USB, you're at home, you downloaded somebody, one of your employees is at home, now they're coming to work. Oh, I need to bring this PDF to work. Okay, we don't have the proper technical controls in place. Okay, now we've taken our home environment, which was infected, and brought it to work. Or we've had an infected work environment, and now we brought it home. Okay, and downloading. We're also not downloading. Don't download. Okay, so you have staff at work, they're on lunch hour, they're on their devices, they're on a work device, they're downloading kids' soccer schedules, and my world, I'm hockey stuff. Like, do we have the proper controls in place? So, human error. We're not clicking, we're not inserting, we're not downloading. Stop it. Because what happens when you do that? If you do that, then chances are you've now put malicious code into your environment. And that malicious code is going to sit there for a month to 6 months. And what is it doing? It's gathering intelligence. Okay? It's sitting in your environment, it's moving around, it's moving laterally, it's figuring out where all your crown jewels are. Where's my crown jewels? Where's my contract? Where's all my financial documents? Where's all my personal identifiable information? Where's all my health information? And it's taking the data, it's getting it all ready to go. It's bundling it up, sitting and putting it by the front door. Just like you're to go to the shopping mall, bag sit. Okay, they bundle up all your data and it's ready to go. So once they're in there, then they're going to, payload's going to be activated and everything's encrypted. Okay, so that's the nature of ransomware, right? They want to ransom you then and extort you because you need those decryption keys, right? So they're going to encrypt you all up. Then they're going to send you a little message and say, hey, in order to get access back to all of your files, you need to pay X amount of dollars. They'll give you the decryption keys. Boom, you can decrypt it, no problem. Life's going to be great. You just need to pay me for that. Who thinks the decryption keys always work? Let's hear a clap. Right? Boom. So sometimes the keys work, great. The issue becomes often in that encryption process, your data is corrupted. So even if you're lucky enough to get the decryption keys from the threat actor, or you go to no ransom, you get decryption keys, you go to law enforcement, more decryption keys, the chances of you actually being able to successfully decrypt your data and have all of your data intact again, good luck, okay? It's a gamble, it's a complete gamble. Now, how are they structured? So when we talk about ransomware as a service and those gangs, okay, they are organized crime. There's a laundry list. So we're talking about, oh boy, can't list them all. Akira, Black Basta, Conti, Dharma, Ryu, Savino Kiwi, LockBit. I'm going to give you a nice little LockBit example in a minute here. How are they structured? Okay, let's do this. Who's gonna be my mob boss? Pink shirt, can you stand up? You're Mr. Pink Shirt, this is our mob boss. And then you, sir, I'll get you to stand up. You're in charge of the code. You own all the bad code. And then gentleman in the white jacket, you're in charge of the leak site. Love it! So, Mr. Pink, Mr. White, and Mr. Gray, they don't know each other, okay? You're in charge of everything, but you're in Germany, you're in Russia, and you're in France. And online, you're not known by Jim, Bob, and Sam. You're known by Mr. Pink, Mr. White, Mr. Gray. We are anonymous. We are making millions of dollars. We spend a gross amount of time together online, but we don't know each other's real identities. Now, you can operate in two ways, okay? And so all of the groups I just listed off, they all operate in an ish, okay, but most. You have the option of hiring a bunch of affiliates, okay? And your affiliates, who do we have here? Gentleman in the blue. Yep, you betcha. You're an affiliate, and you stand up, you're an affiliate. And guy in the white shirt, stand up, and your two buddies next to you in the same row. Okay, so your job, you've created this amazing code, and you got this guy. This guy's made this amazing code, and you're running the leak site. You're gonna say, hey, do you wanna work for me? You're gonna be like, yeah, I want a piece of the pie. I will work for you, okay? You're gonna pay him some money. You're gonna say, oh, you know what? I need your code, and I need your leak site. Because when I breach and compromise somebody, I'm gonna put a sample, a proof of life of what I've stolen up on the leak site to scare them into paying me, okay? You're also gonna be on his team. So you're gonna be in charge of signing it up, and you're gonna be like, hey, you're on my team. You're going to be in charge of finding a target and compromising the environment. And you're going to be in charge of, once you get in the environment, you're going to move laterally and find where all the good stuff is and saves the data. And then you're also on the team. You're going to be in charge of getting the data out of there, and you're also on the team, but you're going to be in charge of all the negotiations and setting up the cryptocurrency wallet and getting payment. And do you guys all know each other? No. You're in France, you're in Belgium, you're in Russia, you're in Moldova, and you're, I don't know where you are, Chile. So that's the one model. And how are you guys going to get paid? You're going to get paid only if you successfully get ransom from somebody. And then are you guys going to get to keep all the money you make? No, you're going to get most of it back to this guy because you're using his code and his leak site. And then you have an option of having one crew of affiliates. You can have another crew of affiliates, and a third crew of affiliates, and a fourth crew, and a fifth crew. And you're going to make money from this crew, and money from that crew, and that crew, and that crew. Okay, so you have options. Mob Boss has options. You can run multiple affiliate crews, all under Lockbit, all called Akira, all called Black Basta, all called Dharma. Okay, so crew, all. Okay, or you can say, I'm just going to have one crew. Just going to have one crew, and that's it. But you're all going to get paid as a percentage. So you're either going to pay to use the code, or you're all just going to be part of one crew and just all get a percentage of the ransomware you get. Okay, so thank you so much. Sit down. So what did we learn from that? We learned from that you're all anonymous and you're all making a lot of money. So if I'm a law enforcement officer investigating that, how am I going to find any of you? And how am I going to dismantle that? Well, I can't. So Lockbit. Lockbit you might have seen in the news. So I was on a ransomware engagement, still on it. Lockbit asked for $6 million. This was just 2 months ago in Canada. They asked our client for $6 million. Given my kind of law enforcement background, my buddy Benny at Europol calls me, Jen, got this thing on Lockbit. Go to Lockbit's leak site. Go to Lockbit's leak site, it's taken down. Yes. Ooh, but what does taken down mean, Benny? Not really taken down. Okay, so what law enforcement managed to do was, they managed to interrupt the flow. They managed to arrest 2 people. Okay, so imagine the diagram we just did here with standing bodies, and of all those bodies, they arrested 2. Do you think operations could continue if we just took out 2 of those? That's where we hear clapping. Woo! We're clapping, right? Operations are still going. So good job on law enforcement, right? Law enforcement, their job is to identify, interrupt, arrest. Okay, and right now they can only interrupt. So international, so 10 countries, law enforcement corroborated together, 34 servers, 2 arrests. and 200 cryptocurrency accounts were seized. Someone's gonna have to fact check that, but I think it's pretty close. So, good job law enforcement, did exactly what they needed to be doing. Super pumped. Project Chronos, you can Google it. Okay, it's in the news, big news. But how do you measure success? So is law enforcement actually successful? Right, I'm like, yeah, kind of, right? Like we're playing darts, we're not a dart player, but we kind of hit the board, but not the bullseye. So that little illustrative example, that's what law enforcement's up against. So they've, 200 cryptocurrency accounts were seized. Do you think they're gonna be able to trace those all back to actual live warm bodies? No, because you know how, we're gonna be tight on time. You know how cryptocurrency tracing works? If you're in law enforcement and you have a wallet address A to start, in order to get a warm body behind that, you need to trace the cryptocurrency, the different hops and wallets it goes to, and you need that money to end up in an exchange. If it ends up in an exchange, it needs to be a reputable exchange that gets passport, name, date of birth, real, reliable information. Then law enforcement has to serve paper and hope that the exchange is going to share the account or wallet holder information. Okay, so there's all sorts of obstacles there. Again, we could do another hour on cryptocurrency. So ransomware as a service, how it's set up, inherently, it's big business, and it's really challenging for law enforcement. And then all the little icons there, I mean, it's really just to make the screen look pretty. It's also to highlight that there's a lot of different motivations for these ransomware as a service groups. The most popular two motivators are organized crime and cyber criminals, and at the end of the day, they're really just financially motivated. Okay, I mean, we do see the odd, ideological, religious fanatic, nation state, not a whole lot. They just want some money. And then lastly, we need to take away three things here, and these are the three things. So if you're in an organization or even in a home environment, maybe you're on a board, at the end of the day, you want to make sure you're doing some education and awareness, you want to make sure you have a plan, and then you want to make sure you practice the plan, okay? So if I start at the top here, if I'm an executive, you need to focus on what is the potential impact. So hopefully today you understand that a little better, right? There's financial loss, there's reputational loss, people in your community, board members, employees are all going to be upset, stressed, worried, all of those things. And you're going to hopefully take the right steps to make sure that you are in business tomorrow and the next day and the weeks to come. So as an executive, once you sort of wrap your brain around the potential impact and you really understand that, then you need to make sure you have a great response in place. So while you're an executive and you're considering kind of those two outreached arms there, you're considering how this is going to affect your community, your employees, and you're also giving thought and consideration to how an incident or event is going to be affecting your board and your other stakeholders. You're also going to be doing what's in the bottom two colored corners. Okay, obviously in the technical lens, right, you're going to be having your director of IT, your CIO, whatever that person's called in their teams. They're going to be doing things in regards to people, process, and technology. And then even more granular, right, they're going to be boarding up the boxes, right, and making sure that identity protect, detect, respond, recover, that's code for. You have an asset management in place, you have a third party, a plan in place, you have vulnerability management in place, re-segmented, all of those nerd things. So obviously, CEO, considering the big impact, considering how you're going to respond, well, all those other parts are moving. At the end of the day, what's going to decide whether or not you're going to pay a ransom, not pay a ransom, what's going to help decide if you're going to continue to be in business and how fast you're going to get back into business is your backups. That's your number one thing, your restore points and your backups. If you can have that squared away, you're still going to get hit. Okay, you're still going to have to crack open the piggy bank a little bit, but you're really going to be able to grossly minimize the impact, time and money. And education. So going all the way back to we're not clicking, we're not inserting, we're not downloading, right? We know that 90 to 100% of these incidents and events are caused by human error. So let's make sure we're educating. So education and awareness. Make sure we have our backups and our restoration squared away. Cold, offline, segmented, squared away. And then lastly, you need to have a plan in place. So when you come into the office and you're wiggling the mouse and you got the black screen and the blinking clicker and then your phone's not working and your 365 is compromised and you're putting the white piece of paper on the front door, Like, what's the plan? Like, do you have an alternate way to communicate? How are you letting the board know? Legal. They'll see C26, C27. Are you reporting or are you not reporting? Do you have legal involved? Do you have breach response? Do you have insurance? Do you have a plan? Get a plan in place, and then you need to practice the plan. Questiones. Men, buddy. So what's the takeaway? The takeaway here is that the numbers are rising. They're going to continue to rise because we have more people, more devices, and more networks than ever. We know that law enforcement's hands are tied, and we know that they're operating in relative anonymity in the dark space and by using cryptocurrency and just by the inherent way they're structured. Okay, so we just need to plan for it. Education and planning. Great. One question. Giver. Question. Yeah, so the guy in the pink, so the question is, in the little exercise we did when we had people standing up representing how the organization is configured, who controls the money. Yeah, the guy in the pink gives direction to control the money. Yeah, and he trusts his affiliates.
So if you interrupt him, then you interrupt most of the other folks. They're not going to get a bigger
Right, but chances are, if we knock out the pink guy, the guy that was managing the code is now going to be the pink guy, and then the affiliate here is going to step into this guy's role. Like the other thing you have to remember, so sorry we're out of time, but you know we had all the affiliates stand up? Out of all the job descriptions I gave you, so boss man, guy in charge of the code, guy in charge of the leak site, guy moving laterally, guy in charge of setting the cryptocurrency wallet. Clap if you think they need to have a computer science degree, a computer science certificate, an $8,000 SANS course, or any sort of other course to do, I would say, 8 out of 10 of those jobs. Right. So the other reason they're continuing to proliferate is resourcing is cheap and it's not skilled. Right? So once the guy makes the code and you got one other nerd to navigate inside your environment, that is it. So Europol taking down Lockbit and having 2 arrests out of, I'm going to tell you, well, we did the drill, 1 affiliate crew, 2 affiliate crews, like out of 40 or 2 arrests out of 40 or 50 people, ask me if they're dismantled. And they're not, and I know they're not because negotiations continued on with our client in February with Lockbit, with an affiliate that had not been interrupted, taken down as a result of law enforcement. Yeah, okay. We could talk forever, and I got a lot of good stories, so